boys and girls. My name is Miss Brown, and I'm just going to do a quick lesson with you guys about character traits. What we want to do is look at character traits, and the objective is to give a character trait to describe the main character. And we're going to provide evidence from the text. Because a lot of times they ask for character traits, but many times we don't prove the reason why. So we want to take it a step further today in order to prove why the characters are the way they are in the stories, and not just say little things like, oh, they're happy, they're sad, they're nice. We want to think a little bit deeper than that. Use some of the bigger words that actually describe characters and try to take it to maybe even a 4th or 5th grade level rather than thinking about the easy words like on the 1st grade level. So I'm going to give you guys a copy of this sheet that I have. But on this sheet, I really like it because sometimes I can't think of some of the character traits. So if I'm thinking of one of those easy words like, oh, my character is happy, then I could look at my paper. And another choice for happy could be cheerful, fun-loving, playful, joyful, enthusiastic, content, or carefree. Or for example, a lot of people want to say, a character is sad. Well, I got some better words for sad. For sad, we could say gloomy, blue, lonely, dismal, or broken-hearted. Now, of course, there's a lot more words out there, but I like these because they help me remember some of those bigger words that make me sound just a little bit smarter. And I have another paper I'm going to let you see too. It has pictures of people's faces, and then it describes them. Like one might be suspicious, or guilty, or frustrated. Okay? So this one's another good paper, and these are just some tools that I use to help me remember what some of the character traits are. So in this book, I'm just going to show you, for example, it's a book called My Name is Yoon. And in this story, there's a little girl. I don't have time to read it to you, so I'm just going to show you some of the pictures. It's about a little girl named Yoon who lives in Korea, and her father tells her they're going to go to America. And she's feeling kind of nervous about this, and she sees how they spell Yoon in written English and how she wrote it in Korean, and she thinks it looks a lot prettier in Korean. So she's not real happy about this move going to America. She's feeling nervous, a little bit anxious about it. And when she gets to America, she learns the word cat, and she decides instead of writing the word Yoon on her paper, she's going to write the word cat. And she starts to imagine herself, instead of being Yoon, being a cat. And then she continues to think about how she doesn't really like America very much. And then one day she learns the word bird. And instead of writing the word Yoon on her paper, she writes bird. And she begins to imagine herself as a bird and flying back to Korea. And then her mom and her have a talk about why she doesn't want to be in America. Her mom encourages her to take chances. And then a little girl from America approaches her and gives her a cupcake. And she was really excited to have a friend. And she could imagine herself as Cupcake. So on her paper, instead of writing her name Yoon, she wrote Cupcake. And then one day, her teacher saw that she wrote her name Yoon, and she gave her a big hug because she was so proud of her. And in the end, she says, yes, I'm Yoon. And she finally learns to like living in America, even though it was tricky for her to find new friends and to learn the new ways. So in this book, if I was asked to give a character trait to describe Yoon, and to provide evidence from the text, these are some examples that I came up with. I said that a character trait that describes Yoon is gloomy or dismal. And I got that from my sheet because I could have said she's sad, but I wanted to use a bigger, more intelligent word. So I said she's gloomy or dismal. And a lot of people would stop right there and just answer the question, give a character trait. But to make my answer even better, I needed to provide evidence in the text. Don't just say she's gloomy or dismal. I needed to say what happened in the story so that I knew that. And so I said, in the story, she's very sad to leave Korea. In the picture, she has...
Miss Brown and Miss Sears, can you come to the office, please?
They're wanting me, so I'll have to finish with you first. In the picture, she has a sad look in her face, and she says, I like the Korean way better. And I provided the page numbers so that I could show my teacher that how she looked sad in the picture. And then where I found in the text, she said, I like the Korean way better. By looking sad in the picture and by saying, I like the Korean way better, that shows how she's gloomy and dismal. And then another example I used is that Yoon is imaginative. Because remember how she was imagining herself as something else? So I said she's imaginative because she imagines herself as a cat, a bird, and a cupcake. And I wrote down which pages she showed me that she was imagining herself. So the important thing is to be able to not only provide the character trait, but to tell me how. And I made a little chart here. At my school, we like to give people who give a really, really good answer, we give them a 3. And then if they give kind of a good answer, we'll give them a 2. And if they kind of get it right, but don't really give details, we'll give them a 1. And if the answer's totally wrong, we'll give them a 0. So I made this little chart right here. I have the trait, the page number, and the proof. And I wrote on page 9 where I was gonna see the answer. And on page 9, I said she's sad because I said Yoon is sad with her father. Well, Yoon is sad, that is true. So it's not a 0, but I actually would give this one a 1 because I said Yoon is sad with her father. She's not really sad about her father. There's really more about it. So I would say that's a 1. On this one, I said she's blue. Yoon is feeling blue. She is unhappy about leaving Korea. She tells her parents that she doesn't like America. That told me how she felt, or her character trait, and it also told me why. So on this one, I would actually give this one a 3. The same example, I said on page 9, she was feeling joyful. And I wrote, Yoon is joyful to go on a trip. And guess what? Yoon is not joyful at all. So that one would get a big fat 0. And the last one, I said Yoon is heartbroken. Yoon is heartbroken because she doesn't want to leave. I'm right, she is heartbroken. And I'm right, she doesn't want to leave. But I could have told more details, given more evidence. So I'm actually going to give that one a 2. So I want to encourage you to not only give good character traits, don't just give the 1st grade character traits. We want like 4th and 5th grade character traits, and if you need some ideas, I'm going to give you some ideas. And not only to just look for the character traits, but to prove why. Show us what page, how do you know? Be like a detective, and you have to prove your answers. All right, I hope you do great. Look for good character traits, and let's always remember that Albemarle Road rocks. See you guys.